What framework could I use to set my goals so that in the few years, let's say in 5 years' time, depending on how much time you have before you get to your set date, what framework would help me or rather guide me towards achieving that?
So you first of all need to know, how am I going to achieve this passive income goal? So I need to look at all the available options.
Yes.
And then I start feeding my money into those options.
Yes.
By just doing that, you are creating a system. So you're not waiting for magic to happen. Most people will work for between 25 years and 30 years old.
Yes.
Some will work to 35 years. But it's a very short period of time. I can't believe that it's just 13 years since I started working, you know? And it just looks like the other day. I can vividly remember the day I reported to my first employer. None of us, I think it's Pastor T. Pastor T says that none of us was born without a talent. There's something that God placed in you that is unique to you,
Yes.
that you can harness and you can turn into an income.
All right.
So I think the first thing that someone needs to do as a strategy towards early retirement
Yes.
is to identify that which you do at in a most comfortable way with the least amount of energy.
True. Hello and welcome back to the Sylvia Korir podcast, where we have conversations that matter. Today we are going to continue the same conversation in a different angle, and I have a guest back in studio. Steve, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
All right. My name is Steven Kagiri. Some people know me as Kimuyu, which is fine. I go by both names. I'm comfortable. I am a financial advisor and a trainer, especially with a bias towards personal finance management and helping people to know how to make the most out of the income that they earn.
Awesome, Steve. I think from our previous conversation, we talked about the financial independence that everyone wants to work towards.
Yes.
So on that note, I got a question for you. Is early retirement possible?
Wow. Such a wonderful question. Yeah.
Yes.
And ideally, if you think about it, the conversation about financial independence usually leads to that possibility that I could choose to leave work and I've already set my paths right in terms of my financial position.
All right.
Because as we said, and it's good for us to recap for anyone who may not have gotten it,
Yes.
or who is catching us for the first time,
Yes.
that financial independence is a situation where you're working, you have a primary income, whether employment or even business.
Okay.
But then you have been able to deliberately set aside your money and put it into avenues that are generating passive income.
Okay.
And the moment your passive income equals your primary income,
Yes.
then that is the equilibrium that allows you to say that you're financially independent. And what that signifies is that
Yes.
you could now choose to leave whatever it is that you do as a main income earner,
Yes.
and you now go pursue things that are maybe the things that make you happy, but you know you have enough income in passive sources
Yes.
that can sustain your life.
Awesome.
And I want to believe that that is the point, especially for those people who are in employment,
Yes.
can get to that point and say, now I have the freedom to leave work
All right.
and I can pursue the things that excite me, that fulfill me. Or you can now go and start whatever it is that you want to do that is not from a compulsory point of view, you know, because most people I know go to work because they really have to, mostly not because they want to. And when you ask whether early retirement is possible, for sure it is. We are all looking forward to it. You know? I want to believe that, maybe if people are like me, I want to believe that people don't want to really work until they're 60 voluntarily. We do that because that is the circumstance that we find ourselves in. But I want to believe that it is actually possible for you to plan yourself in a way that at some point you can voluntarily exit employment and start doing other things that are aligned to your purpose, so to speak.
Beautiful.
And so how do you do that? Maybe that's the question.
Yes.
That is in the room.
Yes.
And I believe that how you do that is starting by planning.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you plan for that? You start setting goals
Awesome.
that will align you to where you want to go.
Good.
And these are goals that have to be fed with the money that you're earning now.
Yes.
So you're not waiting for the income that will come in the future, but you're using the income you're earning now to plan for that eventuality.
Okay.
And of course, it will start with, at what point do you want to exit employment or to take that early retirement?
Awesome.
So you have to be very clear when that you actually need to pinpoint a date. And then once you do that, you then calculate backwards. But there's so many things that would need to advise on that date. Because one, you need to look at how long do I have between now and that date? What are the financial obligations that I have that cannot wait, that cannot be wished away? And how much income do I have currently? And so how much gap do I have to cover between now and the target date? You also need to look at how much passive income have I created by now?
Awesome.
Because remember, we are saying the goal is to walk towards the point where your passive income is equal to your main income.
Yes.
So you need to look at, where am I now? And so whatever plans you put in place should be able to help you to cover that gap. And remember, sometimes that point of equilibrium is a moving number, because we are talking of the money that will help you to take care of your life financially. But remember, 2 years from now, you might have more obligations than you have today. So you also have to factor that in. And so you have to look at all these things. Then you make a plan that I want to exit. Let's say there are many people who usually target 40 as a very good, you call it inflection.
Yes, it's an inflection point.
Inflection point.
Yes.
Where you now change things. I've come to learn of a new word called pivoting. So you could call it a pivot from employment into, self-employment, or even pursuing your life purpose.
Yes.
So you need to then be very, very focused on what it is that you want to do. So maybe the next point then should be, what are some of the things that you need to think about? Now, as a point of reflection for myself, I need to remind myself that from statistics, they say that when someone retires, let us take the normal retirement age of 60. From statistical data, a majority, about 80% of retirees usually end up spending their retirement package within the first 3 years of employment or of retirement. And it tells you that we usually pack a lot of our life goals to try and achieve them after retirement. Which I don't think that should be the case.
It shouldn't, It
shouldn't be the case. And so at the end of the day, you need to start planning yourself, preparing for that eventuality, so that all your money allocation will then speak towards that particular goal.
Awesome. Now, talking about goal setting, I know there are many frameworks out there, the SMART goals. And other frameworks. So, of course, there is the latest one, which I know it may not be the latest, but a framework I explored recently called CLEAR. And how CLEAR contrasts with SMART is because SMART tend to be so project-based.
Call it corporate-driven.
Exactly. So what framework, if any, would you recommend for me to use? Let's say you're coaching me towards retiring early, just for argument's sake of our conversation. What framework could I use to set my goals so that in the few years, let's say in 5 years' time, depending on how much time you have before you get to your set date, what framework would help me or rather guide me towards achieving that, so that I don't, and in case if I fall back, because sometimes I could set a date, but eventually it is happened and this date has been collapsed. The time has been collapsed from the 5 years I thought I have to 2.5 or even 1 year from now. Yeah.
Yeah, circumstances might happen. Now, wow. I wouldn't say that I have a specific framework to use.
Okay.
But I could, pick on some of the things that I've seen work with the people I've been admiring and the people that I've been working with.
Yes.
So that then you know that you're also working towards a target that is highly likely that you're going to meet.
Yes.
And the first thing that you need to consider, as we said, is the amount of time that you have.
Okay.
So you have to condense your activities within a certain time frame.
Okay.
The other thing you need to look at is what systems are you going to put in place to help you achieve that particular goal.
Yes.
Now, usually when you start off, and I like what Mark Zuckerberg said at some point, that ideas never come fully formed. They get clearer as you explore them.
As you take action.
Yes. So you need to give yourself the room to go into something even when you don't have full clarity of how it's going to appear. Because I think the reason why most people don't start, and they might look at maybe I have like 3 years, and it might look like it's too scary because what I'm thinking I need to do might be too huge compared to what I've done in the past. So, but when you then try and fix a system, then the system is now going to start feeding itself, and eventually you're going to realize that you're getting some results out of it. What do I mean when I say a system?
Thank you.
A system could be as good as the type of investments that you're going to look at. So you first of all need to know, how am I going to achieve this passive income goal? So I need to look at all the available options. And then I start feeding my money into those options. By just doing that, you are creating a system. So you're not waiting for magic to happen. So you're taking your money and you're setting aside a specific amount of money and you're channeling it almost automatically into the investment options that you know are going to eventually grow and are going to help you to get that level of the financial independence point. The other thing to think about is how do you then automate all those processes or your ability to then put money aside. Because if you leave yourself the situation where you're making that decision on a monthly basis, or you're waiting to see how the month will turn out to decide whether you're going to invest or not, then you probably are never going to achieve that goal. Now, sometimes you will not even have enough money as you're starting to even set aside. But then you have to choose to sacrifice some things. So that then you let go of the immediate gratification. And you go into a situation where you're sacrificing short-term gains for long-term impact. And there are so many things that you can do as an individual to decide where your money is going to go that is going to give you maximum return. So we are talking of the available options of investments like government bonds. Of course, that's a bit advanced, but you can even start with money market funds or even the so-called stock accumulation when you're looking at investing in the stock market. And then you're looking at how you're going to replicate the monthly action. So that you're not just investing once and then you stop. So there has to be consistency.
Question right there. What is stock accumulation? You tell me in simple words.
So stock accumulation is where maybe you haven't even started investing in stocks. And you don't have a huge amount of money to invest. But you decide, I'm going to set aside a specific amount of money on a monthly basis that is going to be injected into buying of shares on a monthly basis. So you can work on an amount, but then you are left with what will I buy on a monthly basis. So in between paydays,
Yes.
you may be researching on what stocks you're going to buy,
Okay.
the shares in the stock exchanges.
Yes.
It can be local, it can be international.
Okay.
But you work with a specific amount of money. So let's say 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, depending on your level of income. So that means that even for starters, you can even set aside a certain amount of money.
So for a
Then-
starter,
Yes.
how much do they need?
That really depends on how much you can comfortably set aside.
Okay.
And then, even when I say comfortably,
Yes.
it can be comfortable to the extent that it will not make you feel a pinch,
Okay.
but it can also be comfortable depending on the goal you want to achieve.
Exactly.
So you can set aside leisure if you are working. For example, if you have a time frame of, let's say, 3 years
Okay.
to achieve the goal that you want to for early retirement,
Yes.
then you can say, for these 3 years, I'm going to really cut down on the excesses.
Okay.
Because truth be told, we usually have a lot of expenditures that are not necessary, and we can choose to cut them out. And then we can now say that I'm going to set aside, if I would ordinarily have managed to comfortably set aside 5,000
Yes.
or 10,000, now I can say I'll, push my leisure aspects, slightly lower, and then I can set aside another extra 5,000 on a monthly basis to push to the purchase of stocks. Of course, you'll have to do a little bit of research in terms of which stocks will then make sense within that short period of time. Because again, when it comes to investment, one of the most critical aspects is usually the time horizon. How long do I have until I get my results?
Okay.
So if you have 10 years, you might end up choosing a different set of investments than someone who has 3 years, so to speak. So that is stock accumulation. And so you're not looking at huge investment at a go. You are sort of doing it step by step, month on month, with a specific amount of money. And before you know it, you have a huge amount of money that you have invested.
Okay.
And as the market will dictate, you might end up finding that the money that you have invested has either grown by 30%, 50%. Like statistics from last year show that on average, the people who invested in the stock market had a return of about 58%. On average, that is market wide.
Yes.
Of course, depending on which stock you are holding, then the return might have been different. But on average, I'm talking about industry average, about 58%, and that is statistical. And that's a good return.
Yes.
So that is for stocks specifically.
Okay.
But then for other types of investments, of course, the returns are a bit varied.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you hesitate to take action sometimes in your career? Do you fail to speak for yourself when you have the mic? You become afraid of sharing that which you wanted to? If your answer is yes, I have some news for you. I have this book which I have written in collaboration with other 9 authors. We have written and captured the things that sometimes we do in mid-career to block us, or rather some things that we do unconsciously or even consciously because of the environments or the society that we live in that has conditioned us to think in a certain way. So in this book, Self-Sabotage, why self-sabotage? It is because it is the things that we do in our minds. Sometimes it is environmental, sometimes it has nothing to do with environment, but it has to do with the things we grew up knowing. A good example is, do your good job and you will be rewarded. Very sound advice. However, that is only applicable to God, because God is able to see things in secret and reward in the open. In the corporate world, somebody needs to see the work you are doing, because they are not omnipresent and they're limited in time and space. Therefore, it is hard for them to remember all the achievements that you have done so that they can reward you. And it's not that people are really bad, it's only that they are just human and sometimes they forget. A few of the things we have addressed in this book is being a people pleaser, and the major part is about procrastination. So if you would like to get a copy of this book, you can write to me directly on the email that would be on the description notes. And also you can order it via Amazon. The title of the book is Self-Sabotage. It is available. Thank you. All right. I know we've discussed about people who have a short period, but let me backtrack that a little and talk about, so when should a young person really prepare for their retirement? Come to think of it.
Now, you should start preparing for retirement as soon as you start working. Because then you need to realize that most people will work for between 25 years and 30 years old. Yes. Some will work to 35 years. But it's a very short period of time. I can't believe that it's just 13 years since I started working. You know? And it just looks like the other day. I can vividly remember the day I reported to my first employer. And I remember the first week we were just doing shredding of papers, you know. you see how vividly I can remember. And that is a whole 13 years ago.
Yes.
And if someone had told me that 13 years to come, this is where you would be, I probably would not be believing. Now, going by the normal standards,
Yes.
I have another, how many years? Probably another 18 years to work. And you can imagine, so if the period I have until I retire, you know, by normal standards, is just slightly longer than how much I worked in the past. You see how short of a period that is.
True
Yeah.
that.
So I need to start preparing as early as I start working. And you know, if you do that and you start setting aside money, you know, deliberately,
Yes.
the aspect of compound interest will work to your advantage.
Awesome.
Because it will, your money will start will start earning you income.
Yes.
And it will compound very, very fast.
Okay.
And of course, it will get to a point where the returns that you're getting from your investments
Yes.
are accelerating, probably even fetching you much more than what you're bringing in.
Okay.
You know, and I'm sure we all know how that compound interest curve usually goes until at some point, you know, the curve is exponential.
Right.
And so time is your advantage. So if you start early, you are able to realistically look at retiring earlier, much better than someone who took 10 years to start thinking about it.
The retirement. Yeah. All right, interesting. I know there are other things that are out there that people can do. For example, is buying land a good investment for the future for somebody who wants to retire early? Would that be a good investment?
So the conversation about land is usually, you know, it's debatable.
Okay.
I know there are people who call land a dead asset. But then depending on where you buy the land, it can actually be a very good investment.
Okay.
But you need to do a bit of research. If you go buying land in the far-flung areas of the country, then you might take too long before you realize any meaningful gain or capital.
All right.
But there are areas in this country that have been recorded to have a very high growth in terms of the value of the piece of land.
Okay.
And without giving too much details,
yes,
I have benefited from a land transaction
yes,
that gained about... I bought a piece of land at some point
yes,
for 900,000 and 6 months later sold it for 1.3 million. That's a 400,000 increment on 900 within a period of 6 months. Why? Because the area was really opening up. It sort of had just been discovered. And so if you ask me, that was it's actually what enabled me to make a major, you know, advancement in life in terms of home ownership. If it were not for that transaction, probably I would not be having a home now. So for me, that was a very good investment. You see. But then overall, there are people who will argue for or against it. So it depends on where you buy the land and depends on what it is that you want to do with the piece of land. As a strategy for retirement, the way I would put it is, yes, land is good. And especially if you're buying it in an area that has yet to see full development.
Okay.
Because if you go and buy a piece of land in an area that sort of has seen the full potential of what it can do, then the growth in value is going to be quite minimal. But you also need to do a bit of research. You talk to the people who are in the real estate industry to tell you these are places that have. And by the way, talk to brokers. By the way, I love brokers.
Right.
I love land brokers, and the genuine one for that matter, because they usually have insights that you'll probably never know.
Okay.
I've been connected to sellers, to land purchases that I probably would never have seen. And I know many people have different feelings about the guys called brokers. But they have very good insights. But of course, you also have to apply your own wisdom to know the person who is talking, who is giving you genuine feedback.
All right.
So ask a lot, be inquisitive, ask a lot. I think for land purchases, being inquisitive and asking a lot of questions and trying to research here and there is what is going to help you. So that then you also don't end up buying, as you call it, a dead asset. So you need to look at what is happening in the market. Because truth be told, land will also appreciate very, very well in some areas, and in some areas it's going to be very, very slow.
Okay. From what we've spoken about those things that can help us accelerate our retirement. We've talked about the investment, we've talked about stocks, we spoke about mutual funds, we've talked about money market fund, and we've also talked about land. I think there is another aspect that keeps coming of what people can invest in to prepare for their early retirement. It's short-term rentals. What's your perspective on that? People leasing a house for, let's say, 6 months or 1 year, and then making it into short stay. That is the famous or infamous Airbnb.
Airbnb. Yes.
What do you think about that from your perspective as a
Yeah. So it's not something I've invested in personally,
Yeah.
but I've seen people who have made very good money.
Okay.
Again, research comes in very handy
Right.
onto the areas that I really have a lot of demand for such property or for such real estate. And the good thing is that it's a shortcut to ownership. That's how I look at it.
All right.
Just like the Ubers of this world and the movie rentals. So here you get a chance to make money from real estate without owning it.
Yes.
So of course you rent, you spruce it up in terms of the furniture and the amenities that are in that house, and then you charge the person who is going to come and stay for a fee. So your investment in that case is the value addition that you do to that unit.
Okay.
And there are people who are making a lot of money, even doing a chain of Airbnbs.
Yes.
Of course, it's an active business.
Yes.
That is not passive.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
not
it's
too
good
big.
to demarcate.
Okay.
That cannot be called passive.
Oh, that doesn't fall into the passive income.
No, it doesn't. Because there's a lot you have to manage, not unless you're using the developer, because there are developers also who manage for you.
Okay.
You just furnish the house, and then you leave, the sourcing of clients and all that to the developer.
All right.
And then, of course, you have to do it at a fee. So maybe it's a commission or there's a fee that you're going to pay at the end of the month. But for most people
Yes.
that I know or that I've read about,
Yes.
Airbnb is actually an active business because you have to keep on looking for tenants. I don't know whether to call them tenants or clients, because they're really clients. They'll come and go on a daily basis or a weekly basis or probably even monthly basis.
Okay.
So that is active. And even if you're not going to do it yourself, you have to get someone to do it for yourself.
Okay.
For you. I think it can really work. But again, just like any other business, you have to do a lot of research to be willing to invest your time and understanding in the business. Warren Buffett says, and I don't know whether we picked this quote last time, that you cannot make money from something you do not understand. So you have to be prepared to really understand the ins and outs of this particular business you're going into. and you know where you can burn your fingers, where you can make most return, what to avoid, and what to accelerate your pace at which you're making money.
Okay.
Yeah. You are asking about any other thing that someone can use to prepare.
Yes.
And in this day and age, I cannot leave out the aspect of talent.
Okay.
Yeah. I know you already are enjoying the fruits of being able to actualize your talent.
Yes.
And then maybe for you, it's, just talking to people and bringing the best out of other people.
Yes.
You don't have a problem talking to people.
I
and
don't.
That is what you eventually turned into a money-making machine.
Yes.
So most of us have different talents. And someone says that, none of us, I think it's Pastor T. Pastor T says that none of us was born without a talent. There's something that God placed in you that is unique to you, that you can harness and you can turn into an income.
All right.
So I think the first thing that someone needs to do as a strategy towards early retirement is to identify that which you do at in a most comfortable way with the least amount of energy.
Sure.
And someone else says that if you want to identify a talent is something that you can do with a lot of ease and you are willing to do even without being paid.
True that.
If you can get to identify that about yourself, and then you look at how do you then turn it into a business, quote unquote, then you're on your way to making a lot of money, and you're able to then use that in a very meaningful way that would allow you to retire early. So it's for all of us then to seek to understand or to find out what our talents are.
Right. I realize something about talents. Many people, like we said last time, you were told, go to school, get good grades, and then you'll have an easy life.
Yes.
But then getting good grades was nothing to do with talent.
Of course, it was hard work.
Yes,
deliberate learning.
It was deliberate learning and hard work. And we know that hard work alone doesn't work anymore. So I like the fact that you raised to the point of leveraging your talent even for free. And for sure, that's what I did. Yeah, for sure, I started coaching for free. And I started coaching when I was still in my regular day job.
Yes.
I would just coach people. There's a new person who has come to work. I found myself helping them around. And for that, I didn't take it seriously. I thought it's something else that anybody can do.
Yes.
Later is when I realized, all right. I moved department. By the way, I moved department. That's when I realized, okay, so what I was doing, it's not natural that there will be someone in a department to help you out.
True.
And I remember the first time that I got to be employed at my former workplace.
Yes.
Unfortunately, our team lead, the day the new team members were being employed, the evening or after the second day, they are not even reported to work. He was involved in an accident and he died. So I had to now unhold people, coaching them into the work.
Yes.
And making sure that they are comfortable and that they were settling in to the point of even taking them to the market to do the sales. Because that's what I did when I began my career in banking. So much later, when I am like, okay, I think this is not it. There must be something else that I could do. And at that point is when I started questioning, okay, no problem. Customer service is a very good role that somebody can do, and it's transferable in many other aspects.
Yes.
But it felt empty. I would still do it, excel in it, be awarded for it, but I felt empty within. That's when now I backtracked and looked at what are really my talents. And in the customer service aspect, I realized that I would naturally unhold clients. I don't sell and just leave them because that's a typical salesman.
Yeah.
On board, bring in client, bring the sale, go chase the next one. I wasn't that kind of a person. And when I started it, like when I am talking to the people I coach, I will not coach you, help you do your LinkedIn or your CV, get a job and move on. I wouldn't do that for you, because the strategy and the framework you'll use to get the work does not handle your real self, your identity as a person. So it's very easy for you to fall flat when the framework has worked. You've gotten what you want, but it's not sustaining you to go to the next and the next and the next and the next level. So when you're able to identify your talent in such a manner, of course it does avail much. So I thought of adding into that, identifying what is really about you. Who are you? If I have to ask Steve, who are you without your title that your employer has given you at a point? So it's important for you to detach from the title, not detaching from the work, detach from the title so that you can still pour in something that's coming from within, such that even when that the eventualities happen, your source of income at work has been cut, you can still leverage your natural talents to make money from it.
Yeah.
But of course, you wouldn't tell this to a beginner.
Of course, you have to find yourself first in terms of what the career that you want to build.
Exactly. Exactly.
I wish school had a program that was being run parallel to the academic aspect of life.
Absolutely.
And also building our inner selves, so that by the time I'm graduating from campus, I have a view of both what my career would hold and what my talent or passions or purpose would hold. And at that point, then I want to believe that many people would not choose the career path. They would want to go into the purpose-driven aspect of life. However, and this is what I usually say, it is very important to work. Because again, when you get employed, you get to understand how systems work, how corporations work.
Exactly.
You get to meet a lot of people, all manner of individuals and personalities, and then you get to interact with them, and you're able to pick this good aspect from this person, this good aspect. And then you also understand how organizations are run, because again, if you go right into it from campus, there are some aspects that you may not find out, but once you get that privilege of working in an environment, then I think the most paramount thing should be that you are picking lessons along the way, because it would be really sad that I have worked for 13 years like myself, and I have not picked a thing or two as to how life should be run, or how to interact with people, or how, if I was to run my own organization, if I was to get to that point, I would eventually run my own organization, or there are some things that I would work and run in a certain way. So picking those lessons and observing, and especially if you're you learn from observation. I'm very good at learning with apprenticeship, where you are observing and learning how to do things, and you're also applying it yourself. Of course, using the wisdom that also God has given you to interpret situations and be able to apply wisdom and your own knowledge to your own situations, and forging a way forward for what it is that you want to achieve. So thinking about or rather adding on to the conversation about talent, in as much as we may want to rely on what we have learned traditionally, I think right now, especially right now, technology is really helping us to accelerate the pace at which we can learn from our own talents and actualize our talents, and especially with the advent of AI and social media. Right now it's a thing. I'm actually advocating that people learn how to be out there, get to know, or rather let the world know what you have or what you can offer. And I believe that is the whole purpose of such a forum.
Exactly.
We are speaking to the world.
Exactly.
And you don't know what, or rather the person who is going to listen to this or to see this, and which part of the world they are in, and what opportunity that would unfold if you were to offer yourself to the world, of course. And so as people continue interacting with the internet, especially, it is good that you use the advancements in technology to look at what it is that I can do with the talent I have, with the skills that I have.
Yes.
Because there's a lot that right now is happening, and there are a lot of skills that you can also learn. I was learning how to edit, for example, create videos and edit them.
Yes.
And that is a skill that I'm adding to myself. And then I'm realizing that I don't know whether last time I mentioned that I taught myself graphic design when I was in campus, because it was something that was intriguing to me. And I've used those skills still now. Yes. And one of the things that I've realized for myself is that I'm a creative. I see things that are not in existence, and I'm able to bring them out using technology, graphics and all that.
Okay.
And so I was thinking to myself, could it be that this is something that would help me to eventually get to where I want to go? And I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube and other platforms that are speaking about how to use your creativity to come about, or rather to bring about systems, or applications, or computer systems. And good thing is all that technology is now available, and especially now that we are living in, I think we're even in post the information age, where it is no longer about access to knowledge. It is about the interest that an individual has to chase and pursue a certain type of information. I was joking with some people I was teaching, that's the normal conversation about personal finance management.
Yes.
And I was asking them, do you know that right now, for whatever course that anyone goes to the university to study, there's a free version available somewhere?
True that.
That if you choose not to go to campus or to college, there's a free version of whatever course you want to study that is available somewhere. And for me, I think if anyone was serious about learning something, then you can get that information. And the beauty of that is it means that now anyone can actually learn whatever it is that they have ever desired to learn.
True that.
It excites me.
A few days ago, I was attending a meeting, or rather a networking event hosted by product managers.
Yes.
And it's really interesting how the speaker is actually Christian. I think his other name it's hard to pronounce, but he works at the Silicon Valley, and he talks about product management, and he was talking about Africa generally. And he's mentioned how AI has leveled the playing field for everybody.
Yes.
That it's up to you. If you want to do anything, you have all the information at your fingertips. Your thinking is sped up. It is unlike when as long as you have the sketch, it is very easy to prototype right now in product management. Because you would go to, let's just use an example of Canva. And then you design what you want to design, the flyers or the posters or the things that you want to promote, maybe your podcast or anything. That's very easy to do.
Yeah.
And that was not possible.
It was not possible,
And then he also spoke about how we cannot say that AI is the next big thing. No, AI will just be like the internet. In fact, that is how it is. Earlier, people were priding themselves on being a manager for an operating system. And then soon, the operating systems became the basic. So AI is added there. That's what he said. And he mentioned that creativity is what AI is not going to replace at all. So if there is anything that we are worried about AI taking people's jobs, it's not even the people that uses it. It is now you choosing to extinct yourself. Yes. Because you refuse to leverage on the available resources, and you will just sit there while people will be advancing. Because the level, the field has been leveled. Unlike before, where other people had access to information
and other people didn't.
And kept it.
Kept it, yes.
And then while I was having a conversation with a friend, this friend said that, you see, the information is power kind of thing. was what was being leveraged by a colonial at the time, because they had power over who doesn't have. So that's when it becomes information that knowledge is power. But now it's being leveled out. It is no longer how much information you have. How are you leveraging that information, and how are you utilizing? Sorry, I cut you short.
No, it's okay. It's a good continuation of the same point.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about how you can accelerate the pace at which you end up retiring.
Yes.
And now technology is actually helping us to do that very, very well.
Yeah.
Because talk of investments, you can now be able to invest even better using technology.
Yeah.
Talk of building your talent. Now you can level up your engagement with your talent using technology.
Yes.
I'm sure there are people who have always wanted to be singers, but they didn't have enough money to produce
music.
Right now. As long as you have a phone and you have internet access, you are a producer, so to speak. So if that is what is going to lead you to earn enough money to get you out of employment to retirement, then so be it. So that option is available. Talk of being able to access that kind of technology that the first world has. Right now, you don't need to travel to the US or to Korea, South Korea, or even Singapore to be able to learn what it is that they are doing there that is advancing. I like listening to very young people from the US and the UK on X. And there are guys who I actually found myself in a 5-hour video that is talking about how to do vibe coding. I don't know whether you have come across
Yes, I have.
where you can create mobile apps and a website without knowing how to code.
Yeah, true that.
And that is a true skill that is now very live, and anyone can actually take on it. And the tools that are available are very, very easy to use, and so you don't need to have gone to school to study a certain course for you to be able to eventually practice it. If that is your interest, then the resources are now available and you can access pretty much free information. Because as long as you have an X account, you can imagine someone is taking their time to do a 5-hour video.
It's a long one.
Sort of a masterclass of how to start from beginner stage to expert stage in one video. And for sure, they are showing you everything that you need to do. So someone was actually joking the other day that Squeezy, if being broke is actually a choice.
Oh my.
And while of course I know there are people who don't have anything and genuinely, but the truth is, as you said, the playing field has been leveled so much. And the same way I can access a YouTube video that shows me how to come up with a company, even set up a company from scratch to $1 million. The same video is available to someone else in a certain village somewhere. The only difference is interest and maybe exposure to some extent, but it's still available. So for us, especially who are I know your target market is the people who are in the middle level of their management journey or career journey. By all means, we have access to information. So we can't be said to be the unprivileged who do not have access to information. So the difference then comes in as to which information do we choose to access and how is it speaking to our journey of, remember the goals that we talked about? So you're picking the goals that you had set and you're looking at how do I bridge the gap between where I am and where I want to go, and which tools and systems are going to help me to get there. So right now I don't have to look at the career ladder in my employer and see in the hierarchy of my company who do I need to replace to get the next level of income. I need to look at it from a perspective of what can I do to my skills to get myself to the level I am attracting a certain level of income, based on
what I'm doing with the skills that I'm gaining, and which industries that I'm choosing to interact with, And of course, I know it's scary for most people because
it is.
The 9 to 5 is probably what we are used to. But I usually say, what you do, I know I like repeating this, that what you do between 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, depending on, your setup, will only earn you a living. But what you do between the time you leave work and the time you go to bed is what is going to make you a fortune.
True that.
And allow me to just share a tip that I was I came across in my interest with social media.
Yes.
And someone was putting this way. There are many of us who say that we don't have time to implement all these things, extra source of income, learning and pushing ourselves from our comfort zone.
Yes.
Why? Because we don't have time. And someone will complain that when I leave work, I'm either stuck in traffic, or I have to go and whether for those people who are driving and for those people who are using public means.
Yes.
And so the idea was, when you leave work, there is no one who forces you to go and be stuck in traffic.
True.
You could choose to go and identify a place.
Yes.
And for those 2 hours that you would have been stuck in traffic, choose to stay in a place, maybe a nice restaurant that is quiet.
Yes.
Maybe purchase a cup of whatever it is that you take, or something to take for you to be allowed, to get access to that place, sitting area, and you do research. Either you go to class, you teach yourself, or you have meetings with people who can advance yourself.
Absolutely.
And by the time everyone else is stuck in traffic and they're beating jam and all that, whether they're driving or in a matatu, within that 2-hour frame, time frame, while other people are stuck in traffic, you have advanced your knowledge. And then you take your car or a matatu when traffic is gone, and you will take a very short time from where you are to your home. That way, you have used your time effectively.
True.
So that by the time you're getting home, you are much better in terms of what you know than the time you left home, your office. And by the time you're coming back tomorrow in the morning, you and the person who chose to be stuck in traffic are 2 totally different people.
True.
And when you look at a month of doing that consistently, you'll be a totally different person, And people will be asking you, where do you learn all these things? When do you get time to do all these things, or to access all these things that you are now exhibiting? Because it will always show, And so it depends on how you're using your time, And that is a very good example of what you do between the time you leave work and the time you go to sleep. Is what is going to make you a fortune. Otherwise, if you just go home, on your way to work, you'll end up being even more tired.
True.
And when you get home, especially if you have kids, then you'll have to have time with them. And so it adds on to your fatigue, and you just want to sleep and now wait for the following day, But that 2-hour window, I think that's a very practical aspect of life if many people were to embrace it. Instead of just leaving work and getting into traffic, just identify a place. You go sit down, do research, learn, interact with the world, do research, just do something that will add on to your knowledge, that will make you better, in terms of knowledge acquisition and the skills that you're building up for yourself.
Absolutely. And just add on to that, I noticed that we have lunch hours in the corporate world.
Yes.
Maybe for sitting in traffic, maybe depending on how intense your work was, I learned something that learning a new skill doesn't wear your brain down. You just need to switch on what you are doing.
Yes.
You could feel very tired at 4:50, for example, if you are to typically 9 to 5 kind of.
Yeah.
But if you at 4:50 you start preparing yourself to learn something, your mind automatically switches into learning a new skill.
True.
because your brain only gets tired because of repetitive things that has no decision making whatsoever. It's just things that are mundane, for example.
And
that's what would wear your brain down.
Yes.
But if you were to carve out your lunch hour, for example, you really don't need to spend your whole hour just sitting and scrolling social media, because that's what I observed in my corporate life days.
Yes.
People would go for lunch. Barely would they sit with someone, because there are people who utilize their lunch. They pick a colleague to go lunch with because they want to network, they want to learn something in their department, and they want to know their work around, which is a very good networking tactic.
True.
That I teach also the coaching clients that I handle. But just in case you do not have a deliberate lunch with someone, carve out your lunch hour. Take a walk elsewhere. Listen to a podcast. Listen to something as you do your work, because walking will also energize you for the rest of the afternoon. It gives you that energy that you need to come and still produce, but producing in your productivity in a sense that you have a particular mindset as you prepare for retirement. Like, I am working this way and this hard because it is unlocking something that will help me retire earlier.
True.
So for my case, I carved out my lunch hour and I used it 30 minutes to learn a new skill. And the skill that I did, I keep referring to it, design thinking. So design thinking is what helped me a lot, even in designing right now, courses that I do for my clients. For example, you will not come for me to coach you and I give you the framework that works for everyone.
Yeah.
Because one is, I've used as an assumption that Steve needs 1, 2, 3, 4, and yet I haven't listened to Steve and gotten my own research about him and know how to redesign something that will suit his needs.
Yes.
So if I didn't have that knowledge of design thinking, I would look for the frameworks that other coaches use and use them.
Yeah. As a
So
template.
Yeah, as a template. So I don't use the templates that are out there.
Yeah.
I use the templates that I have designed with the client. And how do I do that? You book a discovery call with me as your coach. Once I see you've booked, I will send you a questionnaire, getting information, knowing how to exactly to design what you need for me to coach you on. That way it helps me to become a better coach compared to using the frameworks that I'm not denying that they've been replicated elsewhere and they work, but you need to know your context. Oh, that reminds me what the product managers were talking about. Earlier, we used to see some jobs, prompt engineering. Now, they are not there. Why? We need to engineer as per the context, because the problems at the Silicon Valley and the problems at the Silicon Savannah, they call it, totally
Different. Yes.
totally different. So you see, that is a skill that you can learn and use it. So see, learning 30 minutes has a compounding effect. It's really, the way money has compounding effect, so is a skill. And the way you also say, pay yourself first also by investing in yourself. And investment in yourself doesn't have to be monetary. So you can invest in a skill that you know this skill is going to unlock 1, 2, 3, 4 into your early retirement. So I thought of adding that as we conclude our conversation. What else would you like to add?
Okay. Well, I think for this conversation, the only thing I would add, and I know we had talked about it, in brief last time,
Yes.
is incorporating the aspects of insurance
Yes.
that are forward thinking.
Okay.
And then what do I mean by that? There are insurance solutions that are available in the industry that would help you prepare for that eventuality. Talk of the so-called endowment policies, education plans.
Okay.
Once you realize that you would need to exit employment or to retire early, then while you're working, it's good to set aside a certain amount of money and pay towards some of these arrangements. Because what happens is that you will have a long-term commitment with a specific amount of money that is going to be paid out at some point, the so-called sum assured. And this is going to help you to take care especially of education needs for your children, for those people who have children, or other major projects if For example, you may not be thinking about children.
Okay.
And so if you can actually plan for them to coincide with the time that you want to exit employment, then it means that you will have a lump sum that will have matured.
Let me
And then you will
interject you
put
a
it.
little on that.
Yes.
I know there's a conversation out there about education policy.
Yes.
And of course, I want you to give us a very objective answer on this, because there are people who believe that the value of money that I will gain at the maturity of my insurance is way so low. So would you please demystify for us how we need to look at it from a risk perspective and not as an investment? Because that is the misconception that is out there about insurance. That's why many people are not buying it.
Okay. And I like having that conversation with my clients, especially because I like using this analogy for us to be able to differentiate the value of insurance as compared to that of investment. And I like using the analogy of a house.
Yes.
So when you build a house, you will put windows and you will also put doors, right? Both of them can be entries and exits from the house.
Okay.
However, for most of us, the door seems to have more uses than the window.
Okay.
True. Are we
Yes,
agreeable up to that level?
Yes.
However, I don't see people saying that I will put a lot of doors on my house and I will not have windows. Because the door has more uses than the window.
The window, yes.
So each of them has its own purpose. And while one of them has more uses than the other, you cannot say that I'm going to completely do away with the one that has lesser functions and in place put the one that will otherwise give me the more functionalities. Okay. And that is how you compare insurance with investment. So look at investment as the door that has so much to offer. You can enter using it. You can enter it lets you in and out. You can use it to bring in furniture and it's an escape route. But the window maybe has ventilation and aesthetics. It also has something to do with lighting and also some level of protection. And you see, so the functions of the window are lesser.
All right.
And so you can compare it to the value of investment. So it has its own place in your journey towards financial freedom. Because if you only run for investment return, you're going to live your life exposed to the risks of this world.
Thank you.
See, and so while the return on investment, the so-called time value for money, where when it comes to the money that you assign to investment, to insurance, might not be that much as compared to what you get if you were to invest the same amount of money, there is a certain aspect that insurance will provide for you, which is protection and safety in the event of tough times or incidents and accidents or the so-called, the negative aspects of life that insurance or rather the investments are not going to give you. So it's very important for people to look at, those two with different angles of approach as to what it is that I'm getting when I invest. Because otherwise, if you were just to compare the return that I'm going to get from investment and in insurance, you can never compare them. But they have totally different purposes. So having said that, it's then important to look at using the endowment aspect of insurance because it has both aspects. It's going to give you one, a disciplined way of putting money aside. Because it usually has a long-term aspect and you will be sort of compelled to do that contribution. So it has allowed you to set aside, pay yourself first as you speak. Number two, it gives you protection against death, against total and permanent disability, against critical illness, right? And which investment will not actually give you that protection, right? And then it also gives you an assurance of a specific amount of money that will come to you at a specific period of time. And so you can look at it as planning for that eventuality and with a lot of precision that I know this money will come at a specific point. Remember, most of us may not have the discipline of not touching our investments because, especially for the people who invest in money markets,
Yes.
You will say you are going to save, and 6 months into it, because that money is easily accessible, whenever you get a short-term need for money, you will run into it. And before you know it, the plan you have for 5 years, 10 years
Yes.
is now in jeopardy because there's something that came about and you rushed and picked that money. But this other one sort of gives you a surety that I'm going to get that money. So that plan is already fixed. As long as I keep feeding it and I'm faithful to that, then the insurance company will not let me access that money. So that eventuality of up there is taken care of, and that then becomes a very good way of preparing for that eventuality of early retirement, because now you will know that you have a lump sum amount of money that you can then choose to put it in whichever passive income vehicle that will now start generating income. And so you can all look at it as a layered way of investing.
Thank you.
There are individuals or investors who use the so-called leverage, where you may have government bond that pays you a certain amount of money. And instead of using that money, you then put it in an insurance plan that has a certain maturity amount. And when you look at the compound effect of all those, now it becomes a system. So this investment is feeding into this other investment, is feeding into this other investment. And you may have, you give an example of short-term rental, aspects or opportunities. And you can get the money from that short-term, you put it into bonds, maybe on a regular basis, or you put it into an insurance plan. And so your money is actually creating a system that is cyclical and that is, things are feeding into each other. So you might not even eventually end up getting all this money from your primary source. So you set the ball rolling, and the snowball that eventually gathers momentum and becomes bigger and bigger as it goes down the road, then that becomes how your investment play. So they are feeding into each other, and at the end of the day, you have a huge amount of money that you're feeding from that will now allow you to at some point say, I've worked for a substantial amount of time, and now I have a pool that is supporting my life systems, and then I can now choose to go into whatever it is that makes me happy, makes me feel more purposeful in life.
Yes.
And now you can start thinking about impact and doing what makes you happy.
Thank you. All right. That was such a lovely conversation, Steve. I must confess that it looks like we need to do another part.
Sure.
But that's it for
If
now.
time allows, of course, an opportunity.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for coming.
Karibu sana.
And you're most welcome again.
And thank you for the opportunity. And, who knows? This might just be a system that you're creating.
All right. That's it from the Sylvia Correll podcast. See you in the next episode.